Okay, Peter Olds, could you give us a little bit of background on your association with steam locomotives, in particular the C17 class that the Mary Valley Rattler operates?
Well, John, yes, I think you are aware that we've been involved with steam engines and locos in particular from when we were kids. And my family, my dad was well involved years ago, but I served my apprenticeship at Walker's, and as did my older brother. Our dad said we'd get more experience there than starting working with him when he was just working by himself. And so I was lucky to get straight from school at 15 years of age. I got a position in the drawing office as office boy, running messages, delivering drawings and sketches and picking up stuff from the foreman's offices around the works and in the top shop and in the shipyards. And the war had just come to a close, and loco work, as you are aware, Walker's built more steam locos than any other works in the Commonwealth. And there was talk of an order coming for C17 engines, and the C17s were going to be roller bearing and a modernised version of that popular class. And the drawings started to appear while I was in the drawing office, and I couldn't believe it when a colour scheme came through for them, and they were going to be chocolate brown with green trim. And I think just about everybody thought that was a fairly strange combination, and I think they earned the name Brown Bomber fairly early in the piece after the famous boxer. I think it was Joe Louis, and I think he was an American boxer. I didn't take much interest in it, but they were called Brown Bombers for quite a while. And they started to be produced. I gravitated from the drawing office into the machine shop, and there were castings coming out, forgings being made, all within that shop. And Walker's made just about every last nut and bolt of any of the machines that they built. And it was a marvellous thing to see all these parts coming together. And I went through various stages in the machine shop. We had a short period when the basic machines were shapers. There were about half a dozen shapers for lads, and an older tradesman in charge of one nearby, and he taught us. And we gradually progressed through to lathes, milling machines, and I went on to marking off on the marking off table, off-siding for a while with two other fellows, and then one of the fellows, he was the son of the works manager, Bob Webber, who was a wonderful old fellow, and Laurie Webber his name was, and Laurie and I, we got on very well, and he decided to leave, and he had the privilege of working a planetary grinder, which did a lot of the grinding operations on the valve gear in particular, all the motion gear really, the eyes and the links and the curvature and the expansion links, the well-shot valve gear. And when Laurie was leaving, they had to find somebody to take his place, and although I was just an apprentice, I was selected to take Laurie's place, and he was a great bloke to teach me. And it was an old Churchill planetary grinder, it was called, and I thought it was a marvellous machine to handle, and I took to that very well, and about that time they installed a Cincinnati cylindrical grinder for grinding, especially for grinding the axles, really to get the precision, I think, easier for the press fit of the roller bearings, the inner shells of the Timken bearings. They were Cannon axle boxes they were called. And I finished up on that Cincinnati grinder too, and the axles were stacked up high on pine scalloped boards. We used an overhead crane to change them in the machine, and you know, that machine, it could just eat the stuff. It could turn out work like that. And I spent the last couple of years of my apprenticeship, I think, doing 10 hours a day. It was overtime, and it was good money, double time for apprentices. And I, you know, saw the first of those engines tested, and I really followed them right through. And even I remember going with another apprentice in 1950. His name was Norm Crosswaite. We decided to have a holiday up north, and Walkers had started they'd bought an engineering company in Mackay, or Mackay as we used to call it. And Normie and I headed north by train, and we had one night in Rocky, and the next day we went down to Yeppoon for an excursion day, and they had two of these new C17s at the front of the excursion train. It was a long train running to Yeppoon, and oh Joe, they hopped along. I think they were driving them to the limit. I remember that. I've got photos of that, of the two engines, and they were brand spanking new engines, you know, and it was wonderful. We thought it was great, you know, two of our engines out the front. And we talked to the crews, and, you know, they liked them, you know, they had reports. And we went from there up to Mackay, and had a look at a new shop that they were setting up, and we thought we might have to get a job up there, you know, in the near future. That didn't occur, but they set up that plant up there mainly for the sugar industry. But well, that's a trip I can remember, having behind those C17s, and then, you know, since then they've kept cropping up, and now with the connection with the Mary Valley Rattler, and you're so much involved with, it seems to be, you know, just wonderful to be able to keep that connection, and that I was familiar with these engines in the past, and it's just happening. It's wonderful.
So with the Rattler locomotive, just give us a little bit of an overview of what Olds Engineering have actually done.
What we've done for you?
Yes.
Well, we some of the serious work, more serious work I suppose, was well, very important things. We made new safety valves for her. The later type of pop safety valves they came in on the BB18 1/4, and they're a better valve. Pop valve opens all of a sudden they'll go off and they'll snap shut, and that prevents the drawing of the steam passing the valve seat, the simmering when they're just starting to lift, and that tends to cut the seat, and they don't close down steam tight, but the pop valve, they open and they shut down. And very good arrangement. Well, we've made quite a few of those for Ipswich, for the Heritage Fleet. They put them on other engines too. And then we had to make adapters to put those valves in the dome covers for the boiler on your engine. And another major job probably was building up the pistons, and remachining them. We machined the pistons down in diameter, the overall diameter, and shrunk rings onto them, and shrunk them and welded them, and remachined them for their diameter and ring grooves, and good as new. And I'll work on the crossheads too, which is, you know, it's all got to be right. And it's been just like second nature, I suppose, for me to work on those, because I understood when we were doing it, and I still understand what's required and what's important. And there's been a lot of little things, making the piston rings and piston valve liners. I think we've made for you too, and they're rather important. And the piston rings for the valves, the valve piston rings, they're a little bit awkward. There's been quite a few little odd fittings, and it's hard to say where to stop.